We hustle.
We go through.
Access granted.
We win.
We lose.
Access denied. Access denied. Access denied.
In everything, we dust ourselves.
We are the majority.
You want to tell me just what we're dealing with here?
If you haven't guessed by now, I'll tell you who we are.
It's me. Hi.
We are the empowered youth.
On air, underground.
And this is our podcast, the EY Podcast.
Turn it up. Let the speakers move.
For very many years now, universities have been source of leaders, and we have young men and women transitioning from college politics to national politics. And on this first episode of the EY podcast, The Next Leaders, we are really blessed to be joined by the first ever female president of the Egerton University Student Leadership, aka Eusa. She's going to be talking about her life, leadership, and of course how she feels being the first ever female president of Egerton University Students, aka Eusa. I'm joined by Roxana Gishia, who is also a former student of Laikipia University. She wasn't a leader in school, she was a journalist, and she's still a journalist. She used to be a sports journalist before. Rocky, welcome to EY Podcast.
Thank you.
How do you feel about this conversation about leaders coming from colleges, universities, students to be national leaders? Are you really proud of the ones that we have so far, so good at the national level?
Well, I can't comment because, of course, politics is a very sensitive topic, but I'm really proud when someone tells me before she was actually a student leader, and then now he or she gets a chance to represent us countrywide and everything, because the problem starts when we are students. If you can handle issues away from when you're still young, then I believe you can also handle issues when you are older.
So you don't really want to comment further. But there's someone here who can actually comment further, comfortably, because she's a politician. She's the first ever Eusa president. Wanini, welcome to EY Podcast, The Next Leaders. How do you feel today?
Oh wow, thank you so much. And I would like to say that Sweu was once changed to Eusa. Yes, I believe because of the 2016 constitution enactment of the structure and leadership of Kenyan University. So now we are Egerton University Students Association.
Yes. And you're the first ever female, president.
First ever since 1939.
Since the university
1987,
started.
when Egerton became a university officially.
How did that happen? Because we don't have in history we don't have very many ladies as university presidents, but you are the first at Egerton. How did that actually happen?
Actually, we are over 10 female presidents in universities across Kenya as we speak right now. And I think it was just the right time for us to have a female president. As Egerton, we have been termed as Nakuru girls, having a female governor, to having a female senator, and the list goes on and on. Even our MP here in Joro, she is a female. So it was the right time for us to have a female president, and that is one of the biggest reasons that I went for this. Yes.
During the campaigns, did you have the pressure to can I really be the female president? Because there before there wasn't anybody who managed to get that position. Now here you are campaigning and competing with male people. People are also male. But was the pressure there? Ama were you like, I can do this?
Wow. I can start by saying that I've been a leader since my mother's womb. Because I'm a firstborn of 4. Yes, when I went to primary school, I became the school president, and at the same time the commander of the scouts. And when I went to high school, I became the welfare captain and the CU chair lady. So when I was in campus, I knew that leadership was something I would be involved in, and my mantra in leadership has been to set the pace. So when I was going for this seat, I was going for a seat where I could make as much impact as possible. So I was not worried that I would lose, because of course losing was an eventuality that would happen. But because I will not go for any other seat, because for the chair seat it will create as much impact as I wanted to create all over the school. So I was not worried. I was like, either way it's a win-win. It's a win-win for me.
confidence.
Have you ever lost before though? In life, generally.
Looking at my track record, yes, I have.
Alright.
Oh, yes, I have. Especially in high school,
Okay.
in terms of performance. My performance was really bad. I was in a national school, and I was always among the last in my class.
From the other direction.
It's like something.
And this is a lady who always was the best in primary school. So that one kind of really made me go into depression. It was one of the biggest and worst moments of my life.
Okay.
I've gone through failure, but not leadership failure.
Not leadership.
Yeah.
So you always know that you can fail in any other field, but when it comes to leading people, you know, leading from the front, you're always going to be the one that people are going to be looking up to.
Yes.
That's a very good thing, you know. Looks like you always wanted to do this, you know. How did you win? Give us that template. How did you win? What was your formula?
Yeah.
Politics is about strategy.
Okay.
You can have the money, you can have the resources, but if you don't have good strategy, you're going to surely fail.
Okay.
And somebody said that politics is making sure that people trust you. So when you make people trust you, they're going to vote for you. So that I think that's the biggest strategy that I used. I ensured that people were able to trust me, and that people understood my manifesto, people understood my agenda, and they bought it and ran with it. I think that's the plan that I had over my opponents. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned being a leader since you are in your mother's home. Tell me how it has been being the firstborn daughter. Yeah, how has life been? Because we have something called the firstborn daughter syndrome. I don't know if you've heard of it, but how has it affected your life and the choices that you make right now?
Oh, it's really hard being a firstborn. I think we should have a firstborn day. Yes, in the world calendar.
Doesn't sound good for lastborns, but it's cool.
Yeah, because we are typically the deputy parents. But what that one has made me, I will talk of the negative impact of being a firstborn. It is you always feel the pressure to want to please everybody and to do things the right way. And me being a melancholic, it really affects me in that I am even more perfectionistic. So even when I make mistakes, it's really hard for me to just forgive myself and move on. Yeah, because of that. Because I know there are so many people who are looking at me. So it's a disadvantage. Yes, but we are grateful. We are where we are.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. Yeah.
I looked at your, I think one of your first interviews after you were elected, and you were saying that there's some people who actually doubted whether you actually will become the first ever female president of this university. You know, in what form did those comments come? You know, in your campaign or in what format?
Of course, people doubt you. The fact that I was confident that I was going to take it, it didn't come without its own challenges. People will tell you that you've slept with certain people so that they can give you their vote. People will tell you you have stolen votes. But what helped me is not taking it personally and looking at the end goal of it. Yes, and also the fact that even my fellow opponents were going through the same. You know, it's usually this whole wave. It's just a whole wave, and it always just goes away. Right now, it's not there. Another wave will come now when I'm in leadership. The wave of why is she not performing? Why is she not doing what she's supposed to do? So those are just waves. So you just don't take them personally. You just let it go, and you just do what you're supposed to do.
Which one is the craziest? Yani ile ambayo ulisikia one day and like, come on. Don't do this.
I really had a good support system. My family, my dad has always been my number one fan. He is the politician in our family. So he has really been encouraging me, my mom with the prayers, and also had a very good and intelligent committee. I had a lawyer in the committee, I had a scientist, I had I had an activist in the committee. So it was a committee that would articulate issues very well, and they would. I also had a political strategist. Yeah, these are people who will tell you how to handle each situation. So even despite the many crazy allegations, mostly it's the allegations of a lady must have sex too, to get to where they are. Yes, or they must just do something crazy to get there. So but those people have been a really great support system. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned about making the biggest impact. So how long have you been in power, and what is the biggest challenge have you faced?
I've been in leadership since May, so that is about 3 months. Yes, May this year. That is about 3 months. I will not say I've faced challenges as much because the students are not yet here, but the biggest challenge I would say I have faced is the issue of reconciling what you were expecting to do to your students or to help your students in, and what is there on the ground. So you have to consolidate these two things and ensure that you deliver on your manifesto. Yeah.
And I know it is hard. According the manifesto that you guys always put out there, you say we are going to deliver this, we're going to do this and this. But Bitcoin Brown is not as easy as you mentioned. So how do you make sure that you deliver exactly what you promised to the people who voted for you?
What happens is that these manifestos are not over-ambitious. They're not always over-ambitious.
Maybe share with us one of the manifesto that you used.
Okay, I will mention it towards the end. These ones are not really over-ambitious, but they're things that we really take a lot of time to think about and write them down and see that they are doable. But now what happens when you get into power, even in the national government, you find that the systems are working in a different way. But it is not that these manifestos are impossible to implement. So what happens is you now have to think outside the box and try to consolidate with the existing systems. How can I be able to make this one better? For our biggest initiative that we wanted, that we are seriously working on, it is the Jenga Comrade initiative. So this is an initiative that has an end goal of making sure that this comrade, by the time they get out of Egerton, they are what we call quote unquote a hot cake. These are people who are well versed in what is in their fields, who have enough skills, the necessary skills and know-how to be able to maneuver the outside world. We are all going to agree that the world has changed. It is no longer about who has the most number of degrees, the most number of masters and PhDs. So we have to rethink our whole strategy. We cannot, of course, change the whole education system. There are so many stakeholders involved in it, but we can do the little things like creating a lot of awareness to our students that, hey, you people, if you are doing sociology, there is a certificate you can do that can help you maneuver. If you are doing this, you can apply for volunteer work. If you are doing this, there is a training that is going on. These are opportunities that have been there, but there has not been any awareness that has been spread amongst us. So that is one initiative that it might look over-ambitious, but it is practical and it is very doable. Yeah, that's
good. The relationship between the students and the administrations, not only this at Egerton University, like in every college, TVET around, it's always been crazy, and the person that they're always looking up to really be the bridge between the students and the admin is always you know, or the president or whoever is representing them. And most of the time you hear that when you've been elected, they always say you've been part of the administration now. Yeah. So most of their issues are not being really put forward to the admin because you're part of the admin as well, quote unquote. Is this really something that is always happening?
So, as I said before, that when you get into power, you find systems that are already existing in those powers. And it doesn't mean that we are now in the side of the administration. As you will have checked and noticed that even all over the country. The leadership system has changed from that very, very destructive and rigorous system, the system of leaders, to leaders who can sit at meetings and negotiate.
Exactly.
Yes, because it has brought a lot of losses along the way. And you know what happens in demonstrations is you will fight, but you will not still get it. You will be the ones who are going to suffer. Every university where strikes happen, it is the students who end up suffering. And because we are here to serve our students, we don't want them to suffer through us holding strikes, because we are also the ones who hold strikes. So we have decided to use another direction of diplomatic ways, and they have worked. They have worked.
They've really
over
worked.
time.
I remember when I was here, this is something that we knew. The November, December exams were not going to happen. And you always knew that even if it's January, but you're sure that November, December, there's no exam. It just needs something small to trigger the students, and there's a strike, even a small blackout, no water, like November, December. That happened for like 3 years or something, because my brother was here, they had the same thing. When I joined, the same thing as well. It changed recently. Now people can actually do exams in November and December, but it never used to happen. So I think dialogue is very important. I think understanding that things don't go the way we maybe want them to go is actually something that defines a good leader as well. So when you negotiate, or when you sit with the administration, I think they're willing to negotiate with you and talk to you because they know you listen, and you know, like we need this or this, we need this or this, and all that stuff. One of those things you wanted to do was to, like you said, you know, make the students bake a hot cake or something like that. And you actually wanted to look into how innovative these people are, their talents, what they can do, and all the stuff. What is the biggest innovation or the biggest talent you've seen from your students so far, or you had exist or anything?
You know, you cannot say that a fish cannot be able to run. Just because it lives in the water, but because you know when you go to the water, you will be defeated by the same fish. You cannot compete with a fish in a marathon. Of course, you're going to defeat the fish, but by the fact that, but when you compete with a fish in the sea, yes, it is going to defeat you because that it's its territory. So we cannot actually gauge these innovations by which one is the best, because there are innovations in the field of science, there are innovations in the field of IT, there are innovations in the field of agriculture, and I have come across very interesting ones. Like there is a student recently who developed I can call it a website called Egerton. So Egerton is a website that works basically like these online sales websites. So where these people who are engaged in business around Egerton, people selling second-hand beds, people who have apartments for rent, they can put their information on that website, and the students can be able to access it. So such little innovations are the ones that we are seeking to upscale them and see, can we make these websites into apps? Can we publicize them as the Eusa office to ensure that every small business person in Egerton, that student who does crocheting in her room, that student who does maths, that student who does photo shoots, they can easily advertise themselves through these amazing innovations. So there are so many. I've come across very many, even in the field of agriculture, and I think the future is bright for Egerton.
And is it easy for the administration to like support you guys? Like I can see you can see what the future needs for the students, but is it easy to like tell the administration, I need support because this is what the students have and we need to implement it? Is it that easy?
I think it is. What happens is we have to, you know, now we are also learning. As we are in university, we are expected to learn how the systems work out there. So it is just laying out our proposals really well, describing in details what we would want and how even the school is going to benefit from this, and even the community members. So I think the school is very ready. Yes, they have been involved in several projects of late. About a week ago, we had the agricultural show in Nakuru town, where various students came up with their amazing innovations. The artists, the tailors, the designers. You see the people who are involved in the agricultural sector in Egerton. So that is one of the amazing platforms that they had. And you know, for an agricultural show, it's a bedrock of people who are willing to put in their money to fund these amazing projects. Recently, we had a Tag Dev forum that was held here in school, and it was really successful. It was very successful. We got an opportunity even to engage with these key stakeholders like Kenya National Innovation Agency. These are stakeholders that if you just put up your proposal and you describe it in a very nice manner, there's no reason they're not going to fund you. So the opportunities are endless, and the institution is very much ready and willing to support the students.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
And another issue, I think, before we go on a break, there's always been, it's not only Egerton, but I think this concerns like almost everyone in and out of college, the issue of young mothers. You know, we have young women who are giving birth in school. I don't know how they're being handled at Egerton University. Maybe you have information about that. The young mothers. Is there Young Mothers Association, something like that?
Also, in my previous interview, I dealt with the same. I being the first female president, I have the intentions or the needs of my fellow ladies at heart. And one of the issues that rises when you're talking about ladies in Egypt, in even every university, it is student moms, yes, or people who get pregnant when they're in university. I always say, when I start talking about this, I always say, you cannot cry over spilled milk. Yes, we know it is not the right time. We know it was not supposed to happen in campus, but it has already happened. So what are we willing as a university to do, or as a leadership to do, to enable these students to have a better life? Because you find that these students also want to go on with their studies. Most of them don't want to drop out, because now we will be dealing with another case of dropout. So you find that they always want to struggle to just continue and try and balance their mom life as well as their student life. So I don't know what they have been doing in the past. Yes, but what we have promised to do is that we are looking into ways of supporting them, even in terms of helping them fund themselves by, if somebody has a business idea, we help them, we develop them, we give them the needed training, even the training in bringing up those children. Being a mom is not easy. It's not something that comes naturally. When I'm also into the field of child psychology. When you get your baby for the first time, it's not automatic that the baby will just latch onto your breast and start. It's a process. You have to learn. So we are going to bring in those various counselors who are going to promote their well-being and also to help them. And also another challenge that they face is you find that they don't get paternal support. Yes, especially in universities, because tunasema chali anaruka ball. So we're also seeking to create a lot of awareness to the males in Egerton and even in university. Yes, to ensure that they are aware of they are educated in terms of sexual protection. They're educated in terms of when a pregnancy occurs, what do you do? Yes, what is the right step to take? So those are the things that we are putting into place, a lot of advocacy, a lot of it.
That's good, guys. We take a very short breather. This is EOI Podcast, The Next Leaders. And when we come back, of course, we're going to talk about your political inspirations, some of the mentorship programs that maybe you have going on or you plan to actually have on the ground to inspire the next leaders. So we're coming back shortly.
We hustle.
We go through.
Access granted.
We win.
We lose.
Access denied. Access denied. Access denied.
In everything, we dust ourselves.
We are the majority.
You want to tell me just what we're dealing with here?
If you haven't guessed by now, I'll tell you who we are.
It's me. Hi.
We are the empowered youth.
On air, underground.
And this is our podcast, the EY Podcast.
Turn it up. Let the speakers boom.
Welcome back. This is the EY Podcast, the next Leaders Edition, and we're still with Cynthia Wanini from Egerton University, and we are also hoping to meet you next time, whether you're in business, on a hustle, whatever you're doing in Empower. You know, see all about leadership. We really hope to share your story. So if you have such a story, you can actually get to, send it to us. We see if we can actually visit you. But today, me and Roxana Gishia are still here with Madam President.
Yes, actually, you mentioned her name and I realized we didn't even introduce her at the beginning.
No, she was introduced.
Was she?
No.
Definitely.
wasn't.
I introduced her. I couldn't.
Not by her name though.
Cynthia Wanini. I wouldn't forget about that. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So let's talk about some of the activities that you have, because this is about you being the next leader, because I know it's not going to end at the university. Mm-hmm. One day you're going to see you campaign for senatorial seat, governor, MP, MCA. It's going to happen, just a matter of time. Mm-hmm. But the first one leads to the next one. When you leave this stage, you want to bring up other people as well, to really take up the mantle and all that. Mm-hmm. Is there anything you're doing to mentor some young leaders and something like that?
Oh wow. Actually, many people are shocked by me winning this seat because I've never been in Egerton politics, but it is something I've always wanted to do.
It's your first time you buy and
it's
you
my
win.
first time I buy, win, get it. Yeah, but before getting this seat, I was really involved in a lot of capacity building in leaders in high school. We were working in a program called the High School Leadership Development Program under the Africa Youth Leadership Forum, and we have been doing a lot of leadership training every week. We have been very consistent about it, teaching them using various curricula. Like the last time we were doing the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Currently we are doing the law of attraction? So we are equipping these leaders with the skills that we never had when we were that young. So that is what we have been doing. And I can say I'm very proud. I'm very proud of it, and it is something that I would want to continue with. Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned that you've never been involved in Egerton politics since before you got the seat. So when was that moment when you realized, let me vie for this seat and I want to be the president of Egerton University, not any other position, but the president? When was that point?
It came to a point where I said earlier that in my leadership I've always had a mantra that is setting the pace, and I knew in politics it's a win-win. It's like a bet. You are not really sure whether you're going to get it or not. So I knew of course I would vie, but I wanted to get a seat where even if I don't win, I will have impacted people even in my losing. Because in a case scenario where I did not win, people will be saying, when a lady wants to vie in future, she will be saying, there was this lady who vied in 2022. She did not get it, but at least she vied. You see, I will have created a lot of impact, whether I won or lost. So that is one of the reasons or the reasonings that made me to go for that seat. Okay,
that's cool. So what are your inspirations right now? The people you're looking up to, like there's a governor somewhere, because you're in Nakuru right now. I'm just gonna write Susan Kihika somewhere. I think Susan Kihika is like
The perfect.
I actually, surprisingly, I've always dreamt greeting Susan Kihika. And it happened yesterday. I couldn't believe it. In fact, we hugged. How do you hug a governor? And I had my 1 second moment of glory yesterday. We did a photo.
Pictures?
Yes, we took pictures. Just me, Kathambi, and the governor.
And the governor.
Yes, Honorable Kathambi and our governor. So Susan Kihika has been my greatest inspiration. My woman rep. Nwamuratha. She's also a psychologist. I'm also a psychologist, and I was like, whoa, if she can make it, then why can't I make it? And also another leader, she's a religious leader, Reverend Lucy Natasha. She's a trailblazer when you look at the religious perspective of things, and I was like, these are the ladies I would want to emulate.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is actually pretty interesting. I've never had someone mention a religious leader.
How about you? You're not inspired by any religion. It's good. So the way people treat female leaders nationally, are they taken seriously? Are you people like sexualized too much? Is there an issue of, because she's a woman now, people don't really like when you say something, people always want you to play second fiddle. Do you see that with the national setup? Yeah.
I can say there has been a lot of changes. It has been there.
Yeah.
And even it goes to one of the simplest things. Like my dear sister, if you go to the club with a guy, the bouncer at the gate will be talking to the guy, assuming he is the boss, and he will not be talking to you. Yeah. So those are some of the can I call them discrimination on the basis of gender? Yeah, but it has been changing. The narrative has been changing, even countrywide. We have witnessed the biggest number of governors being voted into power recently. Even the biggest number of female presidents being voted all across all universities in Kenya. So the narrative is changing, and it is because ladies have this emotional aspect of them that just comes from their nature. They are able to connect to people's problems. They are able to solve them in a better way. So it is changing, and we are looking forward to a brighter future.
Let us connect with our problems.
Yes, and that is what I was advising Talia the other day. He should find someone. Because if you have a lady in your life, your life is better.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool.
Like you see, Madam President is agreeing with me.
I'll think about it.
You'll think about it.
Yes.
So nafikiri mpaka hapo tumeongelea almost kila kitu na explain everything, maisha yako, your leadership, career na everything that you want to do or everything that ambao unafanya. But I can't assume kama kuna kitu ungependa kuongeza, kutoa, saindo saa.
Of course, there's a lot to say. You've only given me 10 minutes. But what I can say, it's just a message to every leader out there. It doesn't matter which field you're serving in. It's to always stay true to yourself. Yeah. There are always reasons to make you deviate from who you are. Okay. Just wake up every morning, dust yourself up, accept the mistakes you've made, forgive yourself, and move on. Okay. Because that's all matters at the end of the day. As long as you're moving, you're always good to go.
Always good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time Mwanini.
Thank you.
Appreciate tulipata time ukakuja tumebonga. Nafikiri umeempower watu wengine. So from that conversation we take inspiration, lakini pia wewe ambao umecheki, umesikiliza, umewatch at the same time, you wanna share your story. Lazima uwe na story nzuri, of course, ambayo inaweza empower mse. Of course, kama wewe ni mwanafunzi na uko nursery, primary, high school, whichever level uko, you can always try to hone something about uko very good at. It could be leadership, sports, public speaking, and you're very articulate, by the way.
Thank you.
You can talk, you know what I'm saying? So mpaka hapo na sisi tunamaliza, but Rocky is going to do the honors ya kutumalizia shughuli ya leo.
Yeah, so today we've had an amazing day. We've had an amazing session with you, Grace, in our studio, you know. Thank you for coming. I've learned a lot personally in leadership and in life. But the biggest lesson that I hope you guys have taken is just stay true to yourself, because you are the only person who got yourself. But anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. Tupatane the next episode, because again, we got you. Like, we'll be bringing amazing people here. So again, don't miss out.
See you in a bit.
We hustle.
We go through.
Access granted.
We win.
We lose.
Access denied. Access denied. Access denied.
In everything, we dust ourselves.
We are the majority.
You want to tell me just what we're dealing with here?
If you haven't guessed by now, I'll tell you who we are.
It's me. Hi.
We are the empowered youth.
This is our podcast, the EY Podcast.
Let the speakers boom.